better have that. Kid.
Hello.
Can we help you?
I'm here to see Mr. Carson.
Who's this?
Jimmy Kent, at your service.
I'm Mr. Barrow, his lordship's valet.
And I'm hoping to be his lordship's footman, which is why I'm looking for Mr. Carson.
What's the matter? Have you all been turned into pillars of salt? May I help?
You got the job, then?
I'm on my way, Mr. Barrow. They say you were a footman once.
That's right.
So can I come to you if there's anything I need to know?
Certainly. Why not? There. Do you feel a slight increase in the resistance?
I think so.
That's what you're watching for. Never go past the point where the clock is comfortable.
You make it sound like a living thing.
Well, clocks are living things. My dad was a clockmaker. I grew up with clocks. Understand them. Never wind them in the early morning before a room is warmed up, nor too late when the night air cools them down. Find a time when the family's out of the room.
It's a flipping insult just because he's 10 foot tall.
You're right.
I've got a good mind to.
Don't do anything you regret. These things can be managed, but not by losing your temper.
You make a cosy couple, I must say.
I don't think so.
It's not what I've heard. Alfred says he's always going on about you. Silly, sloppy stuff. Alfred's sick and tired of it, and no wonder.
Oh, he's making it up.
Have it your own way.
What about your family? Where are you from?
Don't have any family, not really. Cousins, you know, no one else.
And your mum and dad?
Dead. My dad was killed in the war and my mother died of the flu. I haven't any brothers and sisters, so here we are. All on me own, son.
Must get lonely.
Meaning?
I know what it's like, that's all. Funny, we're quite a pair. We both like to look very sure of ourselves, but we're not so sure underneath, are we? Still, you've no need to worry. Mr. Carson may prefer Alfred, but nobody else does.
Don't they? I wonder. Sometimes I think it's just Jimmy contra Mundi.
Was that Latin? I should try it on Mr. Carson, make up some points.
Never mind Latin. I need a magic spell.
Good night. He's a funny one, isn't he? You can't pull the wool over my eyes. I know what's going on.
You're quite wrong, Miss O'Brien. He's a proper little ladies' man.
Oh, if that's how you want to play it.
What are you going on about?
There's no need to bark. I only know what Alfred tells me.
Well, if he says Jimmy's interested in me, he's lying.
Oh, dear. Was it supposed to be a secret?
Jimmy, but I've got to... Oh, my... Get off! Get the bloody hell off me! Alfred, it's not what you think.
Don't do that, please. Alfred doesn't matter. No one will believe a word he says. He's nothing.
What are you doing? Why are you in here?
Because of what you said. Because of all there is between us.
There's nothing between us except my fist if you don't get out. And if you tell it...
But what about the things you said?
I said nothing except get out. Go on, get out, Thomas.
So, you're ready to speak out?
I think you're right. And I must.
Good. He has broken all the fundamental laws of God and man. Report him, as you should, and then stand back and enjoy his fall.
I don't need to tell you that this is a criminal offence.
We hadn't done anything.
But you were hoping to do something if Alfred hadn't come in.
It's not against the law to hope, is it?
Don't you get clever with me when you should be horsewhipped. Do you have a defence? Am I mistaken in any part of this?
Not really, Mr. Carson. As for a defence, what can I say? I was very drawn to him, and I'd got the impression that he felt the same way. I was wrong.
It seems an odd mistake to make.
When you're like me, Mr. Carson, you have to read the signs as best you can because no one dare speak out.
I do not wish to take a tour of your revolting world.
No.
So, are you saying that James is the innocent party in all this?
Yes, Mr. Carson, he is.
I'll take time to consider. And we must first find out what James intends to do. He'd be within his rights to report you to the police. Although I'm quite sure it won't come to that. It's time to draw a line under this whole unfortunate episode.
So I go out the window.
I cannot hide that I find your situation revolting, but whether or not you believe me, I am not entirely unsympathetic. You have been twisted by nature into something foul, and even I can see that you did not ask for it. I think it better that you resign quietly, citing the excuse that Mr. Bates has returned. I will write a perfectly acceptable reference, and you'll find that there's nothing about it that's hard to explain. Come.
Mr. Carson, is it true Mr. Barrow's leaving?
Yes, and for what it's worth, I think he was genuinely mistaken over the incident and is sorry now, which, of course, is no excuse.
I want to be sure you'll give him a bad reference.
I'm sorry.
I can't let a man like that go to work in innocent people's houses.
I will write him the character I think he deserves.
Can I read it?
Certainly not.
Because I've been thinking, I ought to report him to the police.
What?
It was my duty. I know today thinking is much more liberal.
Yeah, just a minute. I've never been called a liberal in my life, and I don't intend to start now. But I do not believe in scandal. Mr. Barrow will go, and when he does, I would like him to go quietly, for the sake of the house, the family, and for that matter, you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Carson, but I can't stay quiet if my conscience prompts me differently. I won't turn a blind eye to sin.
I'm to leave with no reference. After working here for 10 years...
I'm afraid my hands are tied.
I'll never get a job now, Mr. Carson. Does his lordship know about this?
No.
Then I'm going to tell him.
And how would you do that without telling him the rest of it?
This wasn't Jimmy's idea. Somebody's put him up to it. He wouldn't be so unkind, not left to himself.
I'm almost touched that you will defend him under such circumstances, but there it is.